like, this is crazy. Like, people are really offering you money to come on this show and lie. So at that point, I was like, forget it. It's a lie. Like, now I don't believe anything.
LaTisha Scott finally speaks her truth, and this time, she's not holding back. LaTisha Scott didn't just lose her temper quietly at home. She didn't argue in private or drop hints in interviews. No, she went live on Instagram and let everything out in front of the world. What fans saw was a completely different side of LaTisha, raw, emotional, and done pretending. She didn't just talk about her husband, Marsau. She also put her friend Sunni on blast. If you've been watching Love and Marriage, Huntsville, then you already know this wasn't about just one bad night. This has been building up for a long time. There have been whispers, side glances, awkward silences, and moments on camera when LaTisha smiled even though it clearly hurt. She'd act like everything was fine, even when it wasn't, just to keep the peace. But that night on Instagram, her mask slipped. She hit the go live button and let it all out.
Here you go, talking about business. Like, can we not appreciate this moment right here?
I'm sorry, it's a business trip.
Fans were suddenly watching the most real version of LaTisha they'd seen in years. You could hear the heartbreak in her voice. Her pain felt honest. This wasn't a promo stunt or drama for ratings. This was a woman who had reached her breaking point. From the start of Love and Marriage, Huntsville, LaTisha was seen as the supportive wife. She stood by her husband through everything, no matter what. But over time, fans started noticing small things. Every time someone asked about where Marsau was, LaTisha would laugh nervously or change the subject. When cheating rumors came up, she brushed them off like they didn't matter. But her social media started telling a different story. Her posts went from happy family pictures to quotes about healing and pain. She wrote things like, "Sometimes the people closest to you hurt you the most."
I hope that this doesn't make Tisha annoyed with me because I know she wanted some alone time.
That's not something you post unless you're feeling broken. Fans picked up on it. They knew something wasn't right. Even on the show, her energy changed. The sparkle in her eyes faded. She tried to hide it with fashion and smiles, but the sadness was there. You could feel it. LaTisha was doing everything she could to hold it together for her family, her image, and her business, but behind closed doors, she was hurting. To casual viewers, Sunni was just another person in the background. But over time, fans noticed she was always close to Marsau. At events, in videos, even in other people's stories, Sunni was always there. Still, LaTisha didn't seem bothered. Maybe she didn't want to see it. Maybe she convinced herself it was all just coincidence. After all, Sunni wasn't a stranger. She was someone LaTisha knew and trusted. But the fans weren't blind. They saw patterns. Marsau and Sunni kept showing up in the same places, same restaurants, same events, and even the same Instagram locations. Marsau would post a photo from a rooftop bar in Atlanta, and a few hours later, Sunni would post from the same exact spot.
I was like, this is crazy. Like, people are really offering you money to come on this show and lie. So at that point, I was like, forget it. It's a lie. Like, now I don't believe anything.
Things weren't adding up. That's when things got messy. Screenshots leaked. Alleged messages between Sunni and one of her friends were shared online. In those texts, Sunni was bragging. She said Marsau wasn't really in love with LaTisha anymore and that she was his true happiness. She claimed he only stayed with LaTisha for their image as a couple. Then fans started digging deeper. They compared old Instagram posts and spotted all the similarities, matching hotel rooms, the same dinner setups, even reflections in windows that showed Marsau's face. In one post, Marsau was seen in the background of a hotel curtain. The next day, Sunni posted from the same room. People started connecting the dots. There were pictures of Marsau reaching into a car that looked exactly like the one Sunni had shown in a selfie earlier that day. Fans matched outfits, times, and locations. It was no longer just LaTisha's gut feeling. The internet had basically built a timeline of betrayal. Then LaTisha had enough. She opened Instagram and started a live video, no filter, no script. Right away, you could tell she was done holding back. She said, "I've been quiet for too long. Y'all don't even know the half." You could hear the years of pain in her voice.
The part of the harassing communications was you sending the picture.
No,
Right.
no, it wasn't.
Okay, that's the question I got to ask. The question is, how do you feel about that? That makes me lose respect for Martell.
If it was true.
If it was true, yeah. I didn't
So
say
now
it was
that
true.
he's saying it
I
wasn't-
assumed it was true.
So
you
if
assumed it
now
was?
that he's saying that it's not true, how do you feel about it?
I don't know if I can believe Martell.
She wasn't trying to be the polished, composed LaTisha we've seen for years. This was her in real life. A tired woman who had spent too much time defending someone who didn't deserve it. And then she dropped the bomb. Yes, Sunni. I know about you and Marsau. The live chat blew up. Comments were flying in non-stop. But LaTisha kept going. She said she had proof messages, locations, even pictures, but she had been in denial. She didn't want to believe it. She prayed it wasn't true. But after a while, denying it hurt more than facing it. She looked directly into the camera and said, I wanted to believe in my marriage more than I believed in myself. And that's where I messed up. At that point, she wasn't angry anymore. She was just heartbroken. And then it got even more real. While she was still live, Marsau walked into the room. He didn't say a word. He just froze, looking at the camera, realizing thousands of people were watching. LaTisha calmly turned the phone toward him and asked, You got anything you want to say now since everybody's watching? Marsau didn't respond. He stood there silently for a few seconds, then turned around and walked right out. No words. No apology. Nothing. That silence said more than any statement could. Social media exploded. Twitter threads popped up within minutes. YouTubers were already posting videos breaking down every second of the live. Instagram blogs reposted the clips and zoomed in on every little detail. People who once judged LaTisha were now flooding her comments with support. One fan wrote, I used to think she was naive, but now I see she was just holding on to hope. She didn't deserve this. Another added, Sunni sat at her table, smiled in her face, and stabbed her in the back. That's worse than cheating. Fans started pulling old episodes apart, pointing out every time Marsau made jokes or acted defensive. They noticed how often Sunni showed up and how LaTisha always looked uncomfortable but said nothing. The cracks in the power couple image were now wide open for everyone to see. But this wasn't only about infidelity. It was about years of emotional neglect. Years of being silenced. Years of being made to feel like she was overreacting. LaTisha wasn't just reacting to cheating rumors, she was finally standing up for herself. And what hurt even more was that it came from someone she trusted. Sunni wasn't some random woman. She was close to the family. She knew the details of LaTisha's life. She probably hugged her kids. That kind of betrayal cuts deep. This Instagram live wasn't just a meltdown, it was a woman finding her voice after years of staying silent. It was the moment LaTisha chose herself. Now that the truth is out, people are picking sides. Some say this was long overdue. Others think there's still more to the story. Either way, this conversation is far from over. Now, let's take a moment to really sit with everything we just unpacked. What happened on that Instagram live wasn't just some messy reality TV fallout. It was bigger than that. It was years of silent pain crashing down in front of thousands of viewers live, raw, and unfiltered. LaTisha Scott didn't just expose a betrayal, she exposed a truth that so many women relate to but rarely say out loud. For years, she played the role. The loyal wife. The strong businesswoman. The mother who smiled through it all. But that night, she dropped the act. She stopped trying to be strong for everyone else and chose to be honest for herself. And let's be real, that takes real courage. You could hear it in her voice. This wasn't for clout. It wasn't some setup scene for TV. It was heartbreak, exhaustion, and a woman tired of pretending like everything was okay when it clearly wasn't. She wasn't looking for sympathy, she was just finally telling her story, her way. And the most painful part? It wasn't just about Marsau. Yes, his actions, his silence, His walking away in that moment, those were all huge. But what cut deeper was the betrayal by someone she considered a friend. Sunni. Someone who had access to her home, her table, her trust. That's a different level of hurt. That's betrayal from the inside. We always talk about cheating like it's just about physical actions. But emotional betrayal? The disrespect? The years of feeling unseen, unheard, and dismissed while trying to convince yourself that you're just being paranoid? That's a whole different kind of pain. And LaTisha carried that pain quietly for far too long. Now the mask is off. And what we saw during that live wasn't a woman falling apart. It was a woman finally standing up for herself. LaTisha didn't just reclaim her truth, she reclaimed her voice. She reminded people that silence isn't strength when it's costing you your sanity. And what about Marsau? That walkout without a word spoke volumes. In that moment, he had a choice. Say something. Apologize. Explain. Show some kind of effort. Instead, he left. And that silence was louder than anything he could have said. Alright, that's it for today's breakdown. Thank you for rocking with me. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next upload because, chilly if this is what's happening on Instagram Live, I can only imagine what's going on behind the scenes. Take care of yourselves, protect your peace, and remember, it's okay to walk away from anything that hurts more than it helps even if it looks perfect on the outside.